What captured me as I read this psalm is that God appears. God appears as a person, as a judge summoning a court. And I asked myself, what is God's purpose in this appearance? Hear now Psalm 50 from the Lucan Psalter translation. Adonai our God speaks and summons the earth from the rising of the sun to its setting. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God shines forth. Adonai comes and won't be silent. A devouring fire goes before God, while storms rage all around. God summons earth and heaven to the trial of God's people. Gather to me my faithful ones who make their covenant with me by sacrifice. The heavens affirm God's justice, because it is God who is the judge. Selah.
During this season of Epiphany, Richard Brooksford Colligan, who composed our theme song for this worship series, offers a little background about today's psalm and his musical interpretation with a simple chorus that you will catch quickly. I hope you will sing along.
Friends, Psalm 50 says that God is on the way to visit. Yeah, God is coming. Should we be scared? Can we be excited? Well, according to the psalmist, it is time to be very excited. This is a wonderful thing because God is coming with justice. From where the sun rises to where it goes down at night, God's voice is going out to the sky and to the earth that God is coming with justice, fairness for everyone. This psalm might ask us to think about our lives and what is it like when justice is present, when we are embodying God's goodness, God's fairness for everyone. This song is called "The One is Shining Forth." And the name for God here is the One, which I learned from Van Morrison. From the rising of the sun to where it sets, God is calling out to the earth. God is calling out to the earth. The one is shining forth, shining forth. The one is shining forth. And from Zion, see the beauty, feel the awe. God is coming now with the storm. God is coming now with the storm. The one is shining forth, shining forth. The one is shining forth. To the skies and to the earth, the call goes out. God of justice, gather your own. God of justice, gather your own. The one is shining forth, shining forth. The one is shining forth.
I must confess to being quite enamored with the theme that Martha McPhee lays out for this week. The one is shining forth. It's such an expansive statement, isn't it? As I sat with the opening verses of the 50th Psalm, my thoughts turned to one repeating question. Where, in the Word and the world, do I experience God shining forth? Equipped with this question, my diligent reading of the scripture, and the information gained from reading the annotations in every Bible on my shelf, I signed in to Monday morning Bible study, excited for the discussion, yet fairly assured in how I felt the Spirit moving me through the text. To my delight and awe, God shone forth through the conversation in that space, and I came away with a new experience of this morning's scripture, lingering with an image of God I hadn't seen before. God sitting in the eye of a storm, tending a fire. Adonai comes and won't be silent. A devouring fire goes before God while storms rage all around. The third verse of the psalm is a detail, really, an image of God the psalmist conveys to bring the divine into a text that unfolds on the subject of sacrifice and what God really wants from their children. The fire before them and the tempest around them are there to get our attention, because the fire and storm disappear from the psalm thereafter, while God remains, present among us, not keeping silent. Through the psalmist, the divine continues on to their labor, giving us directions and imparting wisdom. And yet, I can't help but linger here in awe of God, in the company of strong fire, swift winds, and hard rains. The presence of the one speaking volumes. As often happens, I felt the need to express this image of God in drawing, where I often feel well equipped to parse out the breadth of encounters with the Holy One. Think about fire and storms. They both have the potential to be among the most powerful forces in nature, liable to cause damage or harm to human habitation, even if and when we are committed to living with them and not fearfully opposed to them. Yet at the same time, it is also true that fire gives us warmth and sight in the darkness, and that a storm brings relief for thirsty ground, allowing for the continued flourishing of whole ecosystems. They contain many facets. They are not simple. And isn't God similar? God shines forth in the psalm in ways beautiful and comforting, and in ways that may call to mind the image of the judgmental God of scare the hell out of you proselytizing. God calls to us across the breadth of creation through the perfect beauty of the earth, and the heavens affirm God's justice. God is summoning all of heaven and earth to the trial of God's people, both at once. Just as a river may be flooded in the wake of a storm, leaving fertile silt ready to be home to new plant life when the water recedes, a fearful thing gives way to more abundant and more wonderful life. Just as the fires that are essential to the life of certain ecosystems may appear to destroy at first glance, leaving the land better suited to new healthy growth and allowing trees like the giant sequoia to reproduce, a fearful thing gives way to more abundant and more wonderful life. I believe this is why I feel so compelled to linger with God in the third verse of the psalm, because I recognize the God that I know and love shining forth behind devouring fire and in the middle of raging tempests. When I really encounter God, I am meeting one who is complicated, patient and loving and reassuring, yes, but also confusing and frustrating and sometimes heartbreaking. Ultimately, that is why I don't feel afraid of God announcing their presence in the company of such powerful forces of nature, because I see at once God coming in glory and power and God sitting at peace. The divine calmly tending a fire, caring for the flames so their devouring is not unchecked. The divine's presence creating an eye in the storm. From either position, God is shining forth and beckoning us to be with them, reminding us that truly God is holding your life. God is holding your life. God is holding your life. We believe. God is holding your life. God is holding your life. God is holding your life. We believe.